I was $25,000 in debt, with nowhere to live, and days away from basically being homeless with my fiance. I had exactly $0 in my bank account when I saw an Instagram ad that would completely change my life. The craziest part, the opportunity required over $14,000 to get started, money I absolutely did not have. Everyone told me I was nuts. You're already in debt, Daniela. This is the dumbest decision you could possibly make right now. And you know what? They weren't entirely wrong. If this didn't work, I had no backup plan, no safety net, no second chance, but I made a decision that day that went against every logical bone in my body. I maxed out my fiance's line of credit and used 0% credit cards to invest in an online business I knew nothing about. That single decision, that irresponsible, reckless investment, when I literally could barely afford groceries, took me from homeless and broke to earning over $36K in my first year of business, quitting my soul-sucking 9-to-5 job by month 5, and getting set to travel this spring in our converted schoolie bus while running my business from my laptop. The people watching this right now who are telling themselves that they can't afford to invest in myself are making the #1 mistake that keeps freedom-seeking people trapped in jobs they hate. And I'm going to prove it to you right now. Because here's the truth. The I can't afford it story you're telling yourself isn't about money at all. It's about something much deeper than that, and it's costing you more than you realize. I know exactly what just went through your mind when I mentioned investing $14,000 when I had nothing. That instant tightness in your chest, that voice screaming, yeah, well, must be nice to be that reckless, and I have actual responsibilities. I can't just gamble with that type of money I don't have. And I get it. When you're choosing between paying rent or investing in your future, when you're checking your bank balance before you're buying coffee, when you're already drowning in debt, the idea of spending thousands on a business opportunity feels completely insane. And you're not wrong for feeling that way. That's exactly how I felt scrolling through Instagram while living in my fiance's 85-year-old grandma's house because we had nowhere to go. But what if that gut reaction, that immediate, I can't afford to go, is actually the thing that's keeping you trapped in the cycle that you're desperately trying to escape? What if every single day you tell yourself that you can't afford to invest in your freedom, you're actually choosing to forfeit the very life that you've been dreaming about since you were a kid? I'm not here to convince you to do anything reckless, but I am here to show you that the math that you're doing in your head about what you can and can't afford is probably completely backwards, and it's keeping you stuck in a life that you hate. For those who don't know me, I'm Daniela, and just over a year ago, I was the definition of unfigure-outable. By age 30, I had worked over 30 different jobs. I'm not exaggerating, literally 30. From farm work, festival gigs, operating equipment, government jobs, car sales at Chrysler, you name it, and I had tried it. People thought something was wrong with me. I mean, hell, I thought something was wrong with me too. I'd work somewhere for 2 to 3 months, get completely drained by the meaningless small talk about the weather and weekend plans, and I'd quit. Because what I really wanted to talk about with people was freedom, travel, building a life that actually meant something. In my 20s, I had spent 7 years working seasonal jobs so I could save up and travel Southeast Asia and Peru for 5 months every winter. That was my version of freedom. I'd work long hours for half the year so that I could be free for the other half. But eventually, even seasonal work dried up. My resume got so long that honestly it became a joke. Nobody wants to hire someone who's clearly going to leave in 3 months. Fast forward to December 2024, my stepdad and I had a falling out on the farm we were running together. I had to pack up our entire 4-bedroom house and put everything into a shipping container. I was $25,000 in debt. We had no jobs and nowhere to live. We moved in with my partner's 85-year-old grandma just so that we could have a roof over our heads. I honestly felt like I'd officially hit rock bottom. Then in early January 2025, I saw an Instagram ad. A woman who looked like she was walking through the Canadian forest with her husband and 2 kids. She talked about going from being a stay-at-home mom to earning multiple 5-figure months, her husband being able to retire from his $200K a year job, and now traveling the world full-time with her family. I watched her free webinar, and something in me just knew that this was different. This wasn't just another get-rich-quick scheme. This was a real business with real products and a proven system. But here's the thing. I didn't have $14,000. I didn't even have $1,400. I had debt, no job, and I was living in someone else's house. I could have told myself, I can't afford this, and it would have been the most logical, responsible decision. Instead, I made the most irresponsible decision of my life. I used my partner's line of credit and some 0% interest credit cards to invest in this online business. Let me show you the trap you're caught in right now, the exact trap that I was living in for over a decade. Picture this. You work 40 plus hours a week at a job that you hate that say makes you $50K a year. That sounds decent, right? But here's the reality. After taxes, you're taking home maybe $38,000. That's $3,166 a month. Rent or mortgage eats $1,500 to $2,000. Car payments, insurance, groceries, utilities. Suddenly you're left with like $500 to $800 at the end of the month. With that $500, you're supposed to save for travel, build an emergency fund, invest in yourself, and somehow create the freedom that we've all been dreaming about since your 20s. The math literally does not math. You can't save your way to freedom at $500 a month working a job that's crushing your soul. Now let me show you what happened when I couldn't afford to invest in this business. I invested $14,000 that I didn't have in January 2025. By March 1st, I had made my first $1,200 sale. After that, I was making over $3,000 per sale, earning enough to quit my 9 to 5. By the end of the year, I had made over $36,000. But here's the part that really matters. In my online business, I only need 1 to 2 sales per month to match what people who are working 40 plus hours a week make. That's only 1 to 2 conversations with aligned people who genuinely want what I'm offering. Compare that to working 160 hours plus a month at a job you hate. Let me make this painfully clear. At a $50K a year job, you're trading about 2,080 hours of your life annually for that income. That's those many hours of alarm clocks you resent, commute that drains you, small talk that bores you, and asking permission for vacation days to do what you actually want to do. In my business, I made $30K in year 1, working maybe 15 to 20 hours per week. That's roughly 800 hours of the year, and I worked from home, from coffee shops, from the beach, from wherever I wanted. You save money a third of the time, and you have complete freedom. Every single day that you decide that you can't afford to invest in a business like this, you're actually choosing to trade 2,080 hours of your life next year for the same money that you could make in 800 hours of freedom. That's nearly half a year of your life. So what's the real cost of not being able to afford this investment? Now, I know exactly what you're thinking because I hear the same justifications from people every single day. But Daniela, I literally don't have the money. I am in debt. I can't just borrow money to start a business. I was $25,000 in debt when I started. I used borrowed money, credit cards, and a line of credit to invest. And you know what? Within 5 months, I had earned back my entire investment and I was making enough to quit my job. And here's what I realized. At a regular job, making $50K a year, I was never gonna get ahead. I was never gonna have the money to invest. The job was keeping me too broke and too busy to ever change my situation. Saying I'll invest when I have the money is like saying I'll buy a ladder when I reach the top shelf. The investment is what creates the money, not the other way around. This seems too risky. What if it doesn't work out? Let me ask you this. What's riskier? Investing in yourself and a proven business model with a possibility of it not working, or staying where you are with 100% certainty that nothing will change? Because staying at a job that you hate for the next 10, 20, 30 years, it's guaranteed suffering, it's guaranteed burnout, it's guaranteed of a life of asking permission to take time off to do what you actually want to do. At least investing in yourself gives you a chance at something different. What about, I'm not a salesperson. I'm too introverted or shy or awkward to sell things. Neither am I. I'm not pushy. I'm not aggressive. I literally just have conversations with people about something that changed my life, medical grade hydrogen water machines that heal your body, and a business model that gives you freedom. When you believe in what you're offering, it's not sales, it's education, it's service. It's showing people a path to the exact thing that they've been searching for. I thought I wasn't a salesperson either. Turns out when you're sharing something that you genuinely believe in with people who genuinely need it, it doesn't feel like selling at all. I don't know anyone who would buy it from me. Good, because the people who are going to buy from you are not going to be your friends and family anyways. My biggest supporters are complete strangers I met on Instagram who resonated with my story and my message. The people in my life who I thought would support me, most of them thought I was crazy. The beautiful thing about building a business online is that you're not limited to 200 people in your immediate circle who already know you as that person who's always changing jobs. You have access to millions of freedom-seeking men and women who are already looking for exactly what you have to offer. Some people think they're too old or too young or too inexperienced. I'm 36. I didn't know how to run ads. I barely knew how to make an Instagram reel. We have people in our community in their 30s or 60s building massive businesses. We also have people in their mid-20s doing the exact same thing. We've got tradesmen, doctors, lawyers, people in corporate, sales, nurses, and people who just wanted freedom like me. So your experience does not matter, your age does not matter. What matters is your willingness to learn, your belief in yourself, and your commitment to creating the life that you actually want. But what if I fail? What if you don't? What if this is the thing that finally works? What if a year from now, you're sending me a message saying, I can't believe that I almost didn't do this? But most importantly, what happens if you don't try? What does your life look like in 5 years if nothing changes? Are you okay with that? Let's talk about the biggest lie we've all been sold. Save first, then invest later. It sounds responsible. It sounds smart. It sounds like what a financially mature person would do, but here's what actually happens when you try and save up while working a regular job. You start with good intentions. You're going to save $500 a month, but then your car breaks down, and then rent goes up, and a friend's wedding comes up, your laptop breaks. 6 months later, you've saved maybe $1,200 of the $3,000 that you planned on saving. So you say to yourself, okay, I'll just wait a little longer. Meanwhile, inflation is eating away at your purchasing power. The business opportunity you were looking at is not even there anymore, and the prices have gone up entirely. This is a cycle that keeps people stuck for decades. Let me tell you about 2 different women. Both were in the exact same situation, working jobs they hated, dreaming of freedom, wanting to build an online business. Woman 1 told herself she'd start her business when she had saved up $10,000. She was disciplined, she got back on everything, no travel, no fun, just grinding away and saving. 2 years later, she still wasn't ready. She saved up about $7,500, but she told herself she needed $15,000 to feel safe. She's still at her job today, she's still saving, and she's still waiting for that magical moment when she feels ready. Woman number 2 has $0 in savings, but she saw the opportunity and knew that waiting meant staying stuck. She used a payment plan, a line of credit, whatever she could to figure out how to invest in herself. Within 90 days, she'd made her first 3 sales and recouped half her investment. Within 6 months, she'd paid the debt off completely and was making more per month than she used to make in 3 months at her job. 1 year later, she quit her job and now she travels full-time. The difference between these 2 women isn't money. It's not even discipline. It's the fundamental understanding that you don't get financially free by saving money. You get financially free by investing in assets that generate money. Your skills, your knowledge, your ability to create value, those are assets that appreciate forever. Waiting until you're comfortable to invest in yourself is a trap that guarantees you'll stay exactly where you are. It's time to completely reframe what affordability actually means. Most people think of affordability like this. Do I have this money sitting in my account right now without it hurting me financially? But that's not the right question. The real question is, what is it costing me every single day not making this investment? Think about it. Imagine I offered to sell you a money printing machine for $10,000. This machine legally prints $50,000 every single year for the rest of your life. Would you find a way to buy it? Of course you would. You'd borrow the money, you'd sell things, you'd figure it out because the return is so obvious that it would be insane not to buy it. Here's what you need to understand. Your ability to build a high-ticket online business is that money printing machine. The only difference is you have to actually use the machine. You have to learn the skills. You have to do the work. You have to be willing to do that. And if you're willing to show up, learn, and implement, then this isn't a cost. It's an investment with a guaranteed return. So let me put this in perspective. If you invest $10,000 in this business and you make just one sale per month at $3,000 a sale, you've recouped your investment in less than 4 months. After that, every single sale for the rest of your life is pure profit. One sale per month, that's 12 conversations in a year that result in a yes. Is that really unrealistic? Is that really impossible? Or is that the thing that's standing between you and that reality, that story that you're telling yourself about the thing that you can't afford? This isn't about whether you have the money right now. It's about understanding that certain investments create such massive returns that the only unaffordable option is avoiding them. Not investing in yourself, staying in a job you hate, trading all your time for money, living for the weekends, and waiting for retirement, that's what you actually can't afford. Because what you're really spending is your life, your time, your energy, your potential. And unlike money, you can't get that back. So let me make something uncomfortably clear. Every single day that you hesitate to invest in yourself, you are actively choosing to leave money, freedom, and the life that you really want on the table. If you could be making an extra $3,000 to $5,000 a month from your business, then you didn't fail to make that money because of the economy or your circumstances or bad timing. You didn't make that money because of a choice you're actively making every single day. That's $3,000 this month, $36,000 this year, and much more after that. You wouldn't light money on fire, but by refusing to invest in the skills and in a business that would actually earn you that money, that's essentially what you're doing. So sit with that for a second and really feel it. When you say, I can't afford to invest $10,000 in myself, what you're really saying is, I forfeit earning hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars in the next 5 years because I'm unwilling to be uncomfortable. Is that really a choice that you can keep making? Let me get more specific. You're willing to spend $5 on coffee every day without thinking twice. That's $150 a month, $1,800 per year. In 5 years, you'll spend $9,000 on coffee. You're willing to pay $100 a month for a gym membership that you barely use. That's $6,000 over 5 years. You're willing to finance a $30,000 car that depreciates the second that you drive it off the lot. But investing in yourself, in a freedom-based business that could generate you thousands, even millions of dollars over the next 5 years, that feels too expensive. Here's the truth. You're already spending money on things that don't create returns. You're just not calling it investing. Every single person I know in our community who are now making 10, 20, or even 40K months made the decision to invest when it felt uncomfortable. The only difference between you and them isn't money. It's that they decided that the discomfort of investing was less painful than the guaranteed loss of exactly where they were. So what's your choice going to be? Now, I can hear you thinking, Daniela, even if I did invest, I have no idea how to actually make this work. I'll just end up wasting the money. Well, let me walk you through what actually happens when you join our freedom-based business. Phase 1. You get immediate access to our $20,000 training platform for free. You're not figuring this out on your own. We have a proven blueprint that shows you step-by-step exactly what to do. First, you'll go through the Roadmap to Success training. This teaches you the business model, how to set up your social media, how to create content, and how to start attracting the right people. You'll also get one-on-one mentoring with me. I'll personally help you through setting up your business, creating your first content, and booking your very first sales calls. Phase 2. This is where most people get nervous. They're thinking, what if I can't close sales? Here's the thing. I will literally help you with your sales until you feel comfortable or until you earn back your ROI. Whatever comes first. You are not alone in this. You'll learn the exact conversation framework that converts leads to customers. Remember, we're educating, we're not convincing. You're simply sharing something that changed your life with people who need it. Within 8 weeks, most people are making their first sale. It's about $1,200 to $3,500 in commission from one conversation. Phase 3. Now you're getting consistent, you're making sales, you're building confidence and refining your approach. You'll tap into the Master Ads course and start running paid traffic. This is how you scale beyond the immediate network and start reaching thousands of aligned people all around the world. You're going to be attending weekly coaching calls where you'll get support, strategy, and accountability from our entire community. Phase 4. By this point, you're consistently making $3,500 per sale, maybe one sale a month. You're working maybe 15 to 20 hours a week, and you're traveling if that's your thing. You're designing your days around your life, not around your work. You built a real business with proven systems, real skills, and actual freedom. This isn't theory. This is the exact path hundreds of people in our community, including myself, have followed. The framework works, the business model works. The only question is whether you're willing to trust yourself enough to go down this path. So again, let's talk about what's really happening when you say, I can't afford to invest in this business. It's not actually about the money, is it? What you're really saying is, I'm terrified. I'm terrified I'll spend this money and I'll fail. I'm terrified I'll prove to myself and everyone else that I am not capable of building something successful. I'm terrified that I'll end up in an even worse position that I'm in now. I know this fear well. When I was sitting in my fiance's grandma's house, $25,000 in debt, about to borrow another $14,000 to invest in a business I knew nothing about, I wasn't just terrified. I was absolutely terrified. If this didn't work out, I would be broke with destroyed credit. My family would never let me forget my foolish decision, and everyone would get to say, I told you so. That fear is real. It's valid. I'm not going to tell you it's unfounded. But here's what I learned. The fear of investing was dramatically out of proportion to the actual risk. Think about it logically. What's the absolute worst case scenario if you invest in this business? You spend the money, you put in the work, your skills improve, somehow maybe you don't make as much money as you hoped. Even in this worst case scenario, you still have high ticket sales skills that transfer to any industry, marketing knowledge that's valuable forever, a network of freedom-seeking men and women, and probably some of the best friends that you'll ever meet in your entire life, personal growth and confidence that you didn't have before, and best of all, you'll have improved health from the amazing medical grade products and hydrogen water that we work with. Now, what's the worst case scenario if you don't invest? You stay exactly where you are, guaranteed, 100% certainty, same job you hate, same financial stress, same lack of freedom, same regret every time you scroll Instagram and you see all those people living the life that you want. When you look at it this way, not investing is actually the riskier choice. It's the choice with a guaranteed negative outcome. Every person in our community making 10K, 20K, 40K months, they all felt this exact same fear, but they bet on themselves anyway. And what they have in common is not fearlessness, it's the willingness to be uncomfortable in service of becoming who they were meant to be. So here's a real question you need to ask yourself. Who are you going to be? Because you're standing at a crossroads right now, and you have two paths in front of you. Path one, you tell yourself you can't afford this, you close this page, you go back to scrolling Instagram, seeing other people traveling the world and building the business that they love. You go to your job tomorrow and the next day and the day after that, you keep trading your time for money, you keep asking permission to take vacation days, and you just keep dreaming about the freedom that you want while doing nothing about it. In 5 years, You're basically in the exact same position, maybe a bit more burnt out, maybe a bit more resentful, wondering, what if? Path 2, you decide you're worth betting on. You figure out how to make the investment, payment plan, line of credit, whatever. If you feel terrified and you do it anyways, you go through the uncomfortable phase of learning new skills and putting yourself out there. 90 days in, you'll probably make your first sale. Within 6 months, you've replaced your part-time income. Within a year, you've quit your job. Maybe you're working from a beach in Thailand or a coffee shop in Portugal or your schoolie bus in the mountains like I'll be doing this spring. In 5 years, you can't even imagine going back to the life that you used to live. So, same person, different decision. The next time you look at a business opportunity and you catch yourself saying, I can't afford it, ask yourself, what is it costing me every single day to not invest in my freedom? Who will I be in 5 years if nothing changes? And can I afford to stay exactly the way that I am? This isn't about joining my business specifically. This is about adopting the mindset that separates people who dream about freedom and the people who actually live it. I went all in on myself when I had nothing. The return on that investment completely changed my life. The same opportunity is available to you right now. The only question is whether you're willing to bet on yourself when it's uncomfortable. If you're ready to stop telling yourself you can't afford to invest in your freedom and you want to learn about the exact business that took me from basically homeless to earning $36K in my first year of business while designing my own days, send me a DM on Instagram with the word freedom. I'll send you my free web class that breaks down the entire business model, how it works, how you can get started, even if you're in debt, no experience needed, even if you're terrified. And remember, you're not choosing between spending money and keeping money. You're choosing between two different futures. One where you stay stuck and where you stay safe. And one where you become the person that you always knew that you could be. So which future are you choosing?